every day, usually in the morning, sometime between 5 and 11 a.m. Although it's not atypical to be early afternoon, we release our Central Indiana scoreboard show with all the scores and highlights and details and sound bites from the day before in Central Indiana sports. We feature the Pacers, Colts, Fever, IndyCar, IU, Purdue, Butler, Ball State, and of course the best high school sports coverage in Central Indiana. What you're listening to now is the Central Indiana Sports Report, podcast number 290.7. Yes, 7 podcasts in one day. It's the NBA Finals Game 2 reaction. The Pacers in Oklahoma City for Game 2 of the NBA Finals. Joining me were our NBA guy, John Robertson, our pro sports guy, Will Retherford, and Tipton Tribune and Elwood Call Leader sports editor, Michelle Garmon. We were missing our Pacers guy, Mike Rich, tonight. He's got a pretty good excuse. He's off serving our country.
You're listening to the Central Indiana Sports Report with your host, Greg Mengelt.
Welcome, Pacers fans, to the Central Indiana Sports Report for our NBA Finals Game 2 post-game reaction. And I'm joined by our NBA guy, John Robertson, our pro sports guy, Will Rutherford, and our Tipton Tribune Elwood Call Leader sports editor, Michelle Garmon. And guys, we all kind of called that this was going to happen, but I just kind of kept waiting for it. Kind of waiting for that run. That's what this team's done to me.
They started to make a couple little pops there in the late third.
Every time they did it,
fourth.
I was like, here we go.
Yeah, I kept wondering if it was going to happen, but, just never could really get on a string or on a run. But I don't think it's a disaster. I think you're going to have a lot of people overreact and say it's a disaster of a game and that it's a terrible outcome. But if we had said, if before the series started, if we said we were coming home to Indy 1-1, we would have been thrilled. So
Absolutely.
I think that needs to be the takeaway. The Pacers shot really poorly. If you look at the field goal percentage,
and a lot of open shots that they missed as well.
Yeah. So I mean, the broadcast kept crediting OKC defense, and there was some good defensive plays, but I really think the Pacers just missed a lot of shots. So they're probably not going to shoot that poorly again, or you wouldn't think they would probably, and they're coming home 1-1. So you look at those two factors, and it's really not it's not a sky is falling moment or anything.
Yeah, I feel better about it now than I did before the finals began. Will, your thoughts on the loss? By the way, I haven't mentioned yet the final score just ended 123-107. Series tied 1-1. Headed back to Indianapolis on Wednesday.
I think this is kind of what anybody that really watches basketball would have said probably is going to happen. I mean, the Pacers, the fact that they won game 1 was they stole it. I didn't really think they stood much of a chance tonight. The only thing I didn't like all of the nail help side that the Pacers brought onto SGA. I think the Pacers kind of let the Thunder's role players play a little too well. I think they gave a lot of points up. I think SGA can have 60 if they just do a good job of limiting other people's possessions. And tonight they just, for whatever reason, they were a little slow on the help side and they just weren't able to do that.
And we needed a big game from Halliburton from start to finish. And again, this is the problem I've kind of had with him all year is some games he just decides he's not going to do it. Not going to get to the basket, not going to distribute like he usually does, just is half of the player he is at times.
Yeah, I think that we've seen this a lot of the season. Like sometimes he'll have big games and big moments, and then he's trying to just yeah. And they were kind of ripping on his stat line, and it's not a good stat line, but like he was trying to find passes and he was trying to get people involved, and it just never really happened. And they're playing good defense on him. Let's be honest. Yeah. They're making it hard for him to get where he wants.
That was my next thing, Michelle. Was every time the Pacers try to go to the basket, it seems like the resistance is unlike anything they've really seen all year.
Yeah, they think for me, no, this is not as a disaster. To come back to Indy 1-1 is a win. But I think what bothers me the most is there were four. I thought they're the four biggest areas, and Oklahoma City won all those four. The scoreboard doesn't concern me because you figured you were going to lose one of those games in Oklahoma City. The execution doesn't concern me as much either because that you're going to have poor shooting nights. The effort and the hustle are what concern me because is what I don't like to see because effort and hustle, you can bring those every single night. And if you are a truly you want to be that championship team, you bring effort and hustle every night. I mean, I just think you've got to do that. And I just thought there were too many times tonight. We kind of took us, there are times that the Pacers throughout this playoff have become, they lose too many 50-50 balls. They don't compete for 50-50 balls. That's concerning to me because Oklahoma City is the best team they faced in these playoffs. They're by far the best defensive team. They're quick. They can take away some of those things. We've seen that with the way they're able to defend Halliburton. And so I think those two areas are the most concerning thing. Now, I was concerned because the Pacers have not won a Game 3 in these playoffs. However, Oklahoma City has only won one Game 3, and that was against the Grizzlies.
Well, and the Pacers hadn't lost a Game 2 until tonight, so none of that matters that much.
I think that was one of the things that one of my takeaways is if you look at both of these teams, neither team has lost back-to-back nights for a long streak, right? So by winning Game 1, Pacers have set themselves up. If neither team's going to lose back-to-back nights, Pacers win the series. So that's a positive too. We'll see how they respond. I think they'll come back and respond really hard. I think being in Gainbridge, being in the home arena with the crowd on their side, plus having just lost one that they're disappointed with, I think they're going to play really well in Game 3.
Well, I will say this: I think whoever wins back-to-back games wins this series. And I think there will be one team is going to win back-to-back games. I really believe that.
For sure.
So 3 and 4 in Gainbridge.
I hope.
Because 5 and 7 would be in Oklahoma.
I think Game 3 is key to that. Because, you don't want Oklahoma City to win back-to-back games because then they get back to home court advantage.
I don't think Game 3 is if OKC wins Game 3, I think that's the one that you can afford to probably lose back-to-back because even then it's 2-2. Pacers win Game 4, and I mean they've won in Oklahoma City already. I don't fear the Pacers playing on the road at all. I don't think that this team it really makes that big of a difference whether home or away. They've lost.
This makes them 7-3 on the road, which if you'd have said that coming in, oof.
Yeah, I mean,
but
7 playoff road wins is incredible.
I mean, that is the other thing. Oklahoma City's good at home. I mean, the Pacers when they won Game 1, they were the first Eastern Conference team to go in and beat Oklahoma City since a year ago in March. So, I mean, March of 2024. So that's, so it's not, I mean, yes, the Pacers are a good road team, but Oklahoma City is also a very good home court team.
Well, I'm going to be real honest with you. I was willing to lose tonight to make sure we get a win at home for Game 3 because I'm going to be there. So I would much rather get a win on Game 3 than win 2 in Oklahoma City and then lose Game 3.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I agree with you, John. I hope they come out because I think if they can come out and play well, I do think the Pacers are fully capable of taking Games 3 and 4 in Gainbridge. And I think if they could do that, they'll definitely win the series. And I think,
I didn't think anybody in particular played poorly tonight. Like I said, Halliburton disappointed that he wasn't getting to the basket. But I thought everybody played fairly well. It was another balanced performance. Just nobody played exceptionally well.
I think they got to tighten up the ball control a little bit. They were OKC was getting some pokes when they were making drives. If they would just prepare for that and think about it, I think that's going to make a big difference. That's the only real negative I have.
It's kind of what Oklahoma City does, though. When they beat the Pacers by 30 points, was it in March? It's just like every time they tried to get into the lane, they couldn't do it.
One thing I am a little concerned with is that if the hand checking is going to be allowed in this series, it's going to benefit OKC because their defense is already good, and if they're able to get that little, I don't know how big of a difference it makes, but just that little added element of physicality and ability to keep stay in front of their matchup. I do think that is going to aid Lou Dort, Caruso, and SGA, somebody of defenders of that type. And who knows? I mean, the officiating changes that could not fly next game. It just tonight it did, and I think it. I don't know if it didn't really play a role, but that's just if that continues, I think it's something to watch for.
I feel like they were letting them play early. Like first quarter, I feel like they weren't really calling it on either team at all. And then I think it kind of got a little different as the game went on. But
yeah,
it's a frustrating team.
Yeah. Hey, real quick, did anybody take my advice and bet Andrew Nimhard at 280-1 the other day for MVP? Because
I
it's
don't
down.
gamble, John.
Yeah, but let me tell you what it's at now.
Unless I go to the occasional casino, go to the casino.
Sure. Well, I'm just saying, like, this is what sports gambling is about. You find a line you can abuse and take it. He's down to, it's 41-1 now. So
wow,
they're
that's
buying
good value you got.
They're trying to buy me out. So I'm just saying, we'll see how it goes.
Good value you got. All right, guys, we've got 2 days to talk Pacers, and we will have an NBA Finals report with John Robertson coming up in the next couple of days. We hope to have a Pacers report with Mike Rich, but we don't know when he's out in the field, when he's, somewhere where he can make a call. We may or may not. He's off serving his country. We're proud of him for doing that, but, man, this is really bad timing to have your deployment, isn't it?
Yeah, real bad for him because he's a huge fan.
Yeah.
He's a big fan.
Yeah.
I mean, I know you got to do what you got to do, but that's bad timing.
Yeah, bad timing. Thanks, guys. Thanks so much to John, Will, and Michelle for joining the Central Indiana Sports Report. And thanks to you for listening. Go Pacers. Central Indiana Sports Report is a product of ITG Media. And I love you, Susie.